In a 9-0 unanimous decision, the Supreme Court ruled today that Donald Trump can remain a presidential candidate on the ballot in the state of Colorado. The decision comes after a group of voters basically sued to keep Trump off the ballot, trying to use the authority found in the third section of the 14th Amendment. The section basically reads, listen, if you've incited an insurrection, started a rebellion, or otherwise committed treason against the United States, you can't be a judicial office holder in the state, you can't be a state legislator, and you can't represent the state in Congress. The basis for their argument points back to the events of January 6, 2021, where a group of rioters and protesters ran into the United States Capitol and tried to prevent the certification of the 2020 presidential election. They say if Trump helped do that, then he shouldn't be able to hold office. The question then becomes, well, what did Trump do? The Supreme Court actually sidestepped that question because their decision had nothing to do with what Trump did or didn't do, said or didn't say on January 6th. Instead, they focus in on the authority of the 14th Amendment. Their decision basically says the state does not have the authority to enforce, only Congress does. In other words, the Colorado Supreme Court does not have the authority to tell Trump, who's running for federal office, whether or not he violated Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. There are a lot of different elements why the justices came to this conclusion, but I'll point out two. One is Article 5 of the 14th Amendment, which basically says, listen, this is a power, the 14th Amendment as a whole is a power that's enforced by Congress. The second reason is the historical context of when the 14th Amendment was passed, which would have been right after the Civil War. You had a lot of traitors, and you had people who had fought for years against the United States. Congress wanted to make sure that these people weren't let back into the United States Congress in order to sabotage the country in some way. That, the Supreme Court noted, also makes this a congressional matter, not a state matter. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about the reasons why the Supreme Court came to this decision, as well as some of the context here, you can go online and read my coworker, Carolina Lumeta's most recent article with World News Group.